Hello everybody that has the time to read fiction nowadays. Hello everybody that has still the ability to focus to read fiction. And if you don't, that doesn't really matter. This is a book review. You don't really have to read this book. There's nothing saying that you should even read this book. But I'm going to review you this anyway. Daughter of the Forest, Juliet Marillier. And you have probably seen on my YouTube channel that most of the books that I review, they are by male authors. I don't have anything against females writing books. I don't have anything against that, but I just prefer usually to read male authors. I have read some great books by females also, like life-changing books, but how about this one? Was this life-changing? Well, it's fiction and it's fantasy. And it's one of those mind-wandering books. I have no fucking idea what this plot was about. I don't really even understand the characters over here. This was a book about love. And it was a book about the mystery of life. I think so. And I don't really know if this was targeted to young people or if this was like targeted to like adults. If this was targeted to males or females, I have no idea. But I think that there's something great in this writer still. And she's not the most poetic type of writer. She's not the most best in descriptions. She can't really do plot very well, but still, you know, it's wonderful that she wrote this book, I think, and it had great like consequences in my life. And that's what I feel many times in fiction, is that it's about your life still. You read these books, it's about you. And I think that in this way fiction can also help, and it can also grow you as a human being. It can also help you make new acquaintances. It can also help you to meet new people because you take different paths. And verbally you develop as you read fiction. Fiction is one of those things that you sometimes have very large vocabulary of words that these writers use, and they have more freedom to use those words, but it's not always so. You have to keep in mind that I'm from Finland and I have been reading English like books, mainly English books or books in the English language for all my adulthood. So I started reading when I was 20 years old, I think, or 19. I started like really reading. Before that I was reading, you know, quite a bit of manga, and I was watching a lot of anime, and I was like drenched in the English language. But when I started reading, I started to realize that you know, I'm not really that great in English still. And I started reading, and I read and I read and I read and I read and I read, and I had something like 500 books up to this point, more than that probably. And it has grown me, and it has given me the skill to use English even in my own writing nowadays. You have seen me do stuff with the language that maybe 0.5% of Finnish people could do. It's very high level of language use that I do over here on YouTube. And reading these books and reviewing these books, even though they might be crappy, I'm not saying that this book is crappy, but it's nothing special. You know, it's nothing special. Many women are like that. They are nothing special. And I would want to read a writer that is something special, you know. And I have some more books coming in, but this was from my backlog, and I have had this book for like years. I believe that it was some girl that inspired me to like buy this book like years ago. It was something like 5 years ago, 6 years ago that I bought this book 4 years ago. No, yeah, I would say that it's something like 4 years I have had this book, and I never got around to it. I didn't really dig how the writer was kind of writing, but I believe that this was the perfect time to read this book, and that's what I want to say to you about books, is that if you buy them, never get rid of them until you have read them. Just find a way to store them and find a way to keep hold of them. There will come a time that you have to read this book, and I believe that in kind of mystical way that was just right now. So if you kind of feel from an author that I don't really understand what is going on over here, then I don't really want to read this book right now, so don't get rid of it. You know, there will come a time that you will understand and you will read. And I feel so bad that I gave away a few books, you know, in my past that I should have read at some point. But back then I didn't understand this about reading. I just didn't get this. But now I get it completely. So that's my tip for you. Never get rid of your books before you have read them. So if we go back to this book, yeah, it was about mainly a female character and the struggles of being a female, and I don't know if that's very accurate. I don't know, I'm not a female, so I can't really understand, you know, this female mindset too much, but maybe I can relate to it somewhat and to the struggles of it. I don't know if many females kind of, you know, worry about things like this. I don't know, but if you do and you understand what I'm talking about over here, then maybe like relax a bit, you know. Relax a bit, and yeah, you will become a better person. But that's Juliet Marillier, Daughter of the Forest. And fantasy is not my favorite genre of fiction or books. And it's because I feel that there's a lot of freedom there. And there are some fantasy books that have really, really made an impression on me, but they are very few and far between. But I believe that if we are talking about, you know, magic and the feeling of things being magical, then I feel that maybe a female writer finds her, you know, thing in the genre of fantasy, in fiction. I would think that. And yeah, maybe she succeeded with this one in just that. But man, it was a long time ago that I got this book, and yeah. But if you don't have the time to read nowadays, and many people they have the time, and they would have, like, reading is not very expensive, you know, like, is reading an expensive hobby? Well, I have read through my through all my adulthood, and I would say that I have spent about like 4,000 euros maybe on reading. 4,000, you know, that's reading my whole adulthood. You know, you buy some couple of golf clubs, or you buy like a motorcycle. You can't get a motorcycle for 4,000. Like, what can you even get for 4,000? You know, you can spend on Starbucks. You know, you can spend 4,000 on Starbucks if you have an active habit in that. And I became a reader, and I started to understand the value of books when I quit using drugs, and I quit drinking alcohols, and I just realized that maybe this money could be spent otherwise, and maybe my life and my time could be spent otherwise. And I just love reading. And when I really got injured, in sports, and I got you know, my life just like I've become more old. You know, I feel that reading will play bigger and bigger part in my life in my older days. I hope that I hope that it will. You know, and I hope that I will become published. Like a writer also, because I have been writing all my adulthood too, so like 6 years or 7. Yeah. I have practiced a lot, and I won't become a fantasy writer. Or maybe I will, I don't know. But thanks for watching this video, Daughter of the Forest. Check it out if you are interested in this type of stuff. You don't have to read any of the books that I review on my channel. You might still gain something from them, but with fiction I have very hard time to recall any plots. You know, my mind is just, when I read this stuff, you know, I'm mainly worrying about stuff. And well, over here at least, I was worrying a lot about stuff, you know, when I read this book. Yeah, fuck that, but thanks for watching this video.